This is a place where I don't feel alone. This is a place where I feel Okay, good morning Year 7. Welcome back after a half term that I'm sure you filled with just endless walking and rollicking in the sunshine of this unseasonably dry and sunny part of the year. But I won't prattle on about the weather forever because you've got some wonderful work to do today. I imagine you're chomping at the bit to write up all the ideas you came up with over half term when you annotated this extract. I'm not going to go over the extract again too much because I did give some ideas in the previous video, so I'll link that in today's task if you wanted to go over and just have a look. But for now, what I will point out is that if you did struggle, I've left some questions as annotations that will perhaps get you to think about some of the ideas going on in the extract. For example, patterns in the techniques of the writer, one of which I've actually used in my exemplar paragraph. Again, this idea of noise, which you notice I've talked about in a few of the extracts we've looked at now. I always think it's just really helpful to think about the different ways our senses are being affected, and one that we don't always think about is noise. We usually think about visual images, but sonic images, the use of imagery in terms of how we can picture a scene and the sound of it can be very important. If you think back to your memories, often a sound is an important part of that. So, just being sure to think about this question: how does Golding present the death of Piggy? How does Golding use this event to explore ideas about society? So the first part of the question is pretty similar to the ones we've done before, but this one's about death of Piggy. It's not about a pig, it's not about the pig's head on a stick, the Lord of the Flies. This is about what do we feel at the moment when Piggy dies in the book. And then, if you want to go beyond that, thinking about what we've learnt about savagery, civilization, the boy's behaviour from this event, and what does that teach us about society more generally. Okay, so, of course, this is a really sad moment in the book. This is a tragic culmination, which means the sort of end of a series of events, which shows just how terribly behaved the hunting boys have become. They've lost all interest in being rescued and abiding by the laws that Ralph wants them to. Instead, they smash the conch through their violence and they kill Piggy. And one thing I could say that almost makes it worse is that they have a sense of delirious abandonment. They hardly even, although the rock is sent down, it's not necessarily sent down with murderous intent. It's just a violence, a casual violence that is what we could almost say is indiscriminate. It doesn't seem to be targeting anyone. They're just violent and they're lashing out at anything that wants to control their wild behaviour. And in that violence, Piggy ends up being caught up, which is unsurprising because he's so much weaker. So you could talk about how this is something that's been foreshadowed earlier in the book, the extract we looked at a few weeks ago, in which Piggy gets angry after they kill a pig and bring it home. You could say that that is foreshadowing and predicted this moment in the book. So maybe you want to talk about how Golding used this moment to show that the things we saw earlier in the book had all been building to this moment. Perhaps you could talk about the noises I've done here. So let me just show you how I've come up with the paragraph. Golding uses noise, so that's the thing that he's using. That's the feature. It could be the character's behaviour, it could be a technique, to present the death of Piggy as a chaotic moment with a wild atmosphere. When he describes the noise as a clamour, there's my embedded quote, we understand that it is really loud, especially because of this word's suggestion of an unruly crowd as well. Furthermore, goodness me, good job I'm editing this on the go. Furthermore, always need to have a comma after an introductory phrase like that. Furthermore, the repetition of again suggests that who wrote this? I know who wrote this. The computer wrote this because I was dictating it. Furthermore, the repetition of again suggests that the noise is happening constantly and is hard to avoid. We can picture the desperation of Ralph to make himself heard when he is described as shouting against the noise. So here I've picked up on a few features. If you wanted to do a paragraph about noise, there are plenty of other moments in the extract where noise seems to be a really important feature of what makes the scene so claustrophobic and wild. We feel the wild energy of this scene because of the noise which is appropriate for what happens next. So I said that our feeling, our nerves created by all this noise seems to make sense in this scene. It then makes what happens to Piggy seem more natural, tragically. The noise ramps up as the book reaches its terrible climax. This is a word you might want to use in your answer because the book has reached its end point. Things have been building. That's what we mean by a climax. Okay, so if you want to do a paragraph about noise, you certainly can. You can find other examples, but I've also given you some ideas if you haven't already come up with them. I know lots of people have filled out their table and are ready to go. If you've not got those ideas yet, here's some ideas that you can use as points. You'll just need to choose a few quotes. As you see from my paragraph, I've got one quote here, one quote here, one quote here. All quite short, not very long. They all support the point. The idea of it being again, the noise is just coming again and again, doesn't stop. Against the noise makes it clear that he is struggling. Okay, so choose a quote. You know the drill by now. You're getting really good at this analytical writing. This is your last chance to show off how well you've understood Lord of the Flies. I'm very excited to read your answers. Good luck, Year 7. Have a lovely day.